Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We are in the weather today. We're definitely again within the weather. Folks, as we've been doing for some time, we're going to start this program off with a salute to the United States of America. We're going to start off this program with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. And with that, we'd ask everybody now to please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The host of the Barbershop Quartet Convention gave us the Pledge of Allegiance, and of course, the Army Barbershop Quartet gave us today's national anthem. We want to thank these fine young men for doing this for us. This is one of the world's hardest songs to sing, and they did a fabulous job. We want to thank all of our military members around the world, wherever they might be. We want to thank all of our allied forces as well as wherever they might be. God bless you all. May you all return home to your families when this tour of duty of yours ends. God bless you, and God bless America. Folks, as you know, we have a lot of stuff going on. This morning, actually last night, we went to bed and it was clear outside. It was a cold night. It got down into the 21 degrees area. This morning it had warmed up to 40 degrees and it was dry outside until just about 12 noon. At 12 noon it started raining. and it got harder and harder till after about 3:30 this afternoon, you couldn't see anything dry at all. The park that's just north of us, probably about an eighth of a mile away, on Wednesday it was a great big huge lake. Today it started filling up again. The ground is saturated here in North Carolina, as other places are as well. The ground is saturated and the water is on the surface of everything. Literally, there is flooding going on in the low-lying areas. I would urge each and every one of you, if you're out traveling here along the east or the west coast, you be very careful where you go, because of the high rain levels and the water levels ponding on roadways and other surfaces. Be careful where you drive. If the roadway is flooded, stay out of the area. Do not cross the roadway. If you cross the roadway, you may stall out your vehicle and you may find yourself in very deep water, and your car can be swept off in the water with just over 12 inches of water on the roadway. If you get out in that yourself, 18 inches of water, and you could find yourself being swept downstream just as a body, and you could drown in that water of the creeks of the rivers. Right now, a lot of the rivers, I would say most of them here on the East Coast, are well above flood stage. I'm just putting the warning out right now. Do not do it. Stay out of the water. If you don't have to drive, don't. I'm going to start off this evening showing you a video put up by the Weather Channel. This is in Iowa. This is the snowfall on the roadways in Iowa. Look how dangerous this is.
Yeah. And again.
Okay, that's what it was like in Iowa. And this is just like this all over the United States tonight, and literally probably in most of the areas of the world in the north part of the world, in the northern hemisphere. This can be very dangerous to everybody. I want to put that word out again. It can be very dangerous. At night, please do not overdrive your headlights. In weather like this, your headlights can't pick out much area out in the front of your car. Be very careful. If you overdrive your headlights, you may be running into somebody ahead of you, or you may be finding yourself running off the road into a ditch, a cavern, or off a cliff. A very deep, dangerous cliff. Don't do it. Don't do it. My advice to most everybody here in the United States that is facing these adverse weather conditions tonight, stay off the roads. Stay completely off the roads. It's not worth endangering your life. Folks, I have a lot of things I want to talk about in regards to this. Be careful. Be very, very careful with whatever you go do and with wherever you go. Temperatures are bad. Over in North Seattle, Washington area in the Pacific Northwest, this is what Julie said this morning. Wind chill in Bellingham, Washington, up by the Canadian border, was minus 21 degrees Fahrenheit. Minus 21 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like minus 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. That is downright bone-chilling cold. You go out in this weather not properly dressed, you will freeze to death. Be very careful with what you do. Now, I'm going to give you information now that could harm you. Okay? These are the temperature masses coming out of the Arctic. Okay? This is coming out of northwestern Canada, the area of the Pacific Northwest. Look at this. This is a cold air mass. This is a polar vortex coming way out of northwestern Canada, coming into the United States. Notice the violet and white areas of Idaho, minus 17 degrees below zero. 21 in Helena, minus 21 degrees in Helena, Montana. And that's just for starters. That is exactly for starters. Look how far this deep cold air mass goes into the United States. Right now, early this morning, it was showing it up in northern Texas and over into Oklahoma and Nebraska area, over into Iowa and Indiana, and up into the northeastern United States. This is a very dangerous area. Very, very, very dangerous. Look what I have to show you here. Below freezing temperatures extending from northern Canada all the way into central Texas and into the Midwest. Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee and Kentucky, Indiana and Iowa. Be very, very careful. This is dangerous below freezing temperatures. This is going to last into probably mid next week. I'm just saying. I want everybody to be aware of what they're doing and where they're going. We are going to see below zero temperatures for a good share of next week. Look at this. These below zero temperatures range from Havre, Montana, minus 21 tomorrow. Going down into Texas, 58 degrees, high temperature in Texas. Des Moines, Iowa, 6 degrees. Denver, 17 degrees and snow. Over in Ely, Nevada to the west, 38 degrees and cold. Over into Chicago, this is the high temperature today of 25 degrees. New York saw temperatures upwards of 55 degrees. Now, folks, that is going to be the high temperatures. The lows are even more dangerous. Look at the lows on Monday. Havre, Montana, 1 degree above zero. Ely, Nevada, 2 degrees below freezing, 29 degrees. Actually, that's 3 degrees above freezing, 29 degrees Fahrenheit. Denver, Colorado, 16 degrees. Des Moines, Iowa, minus 4. This is the temperatures on Monday. Chicago, minus 3 and snow. Chicago has the lake effect snow just north of Chicago. That will be back and forth all day long and probably all weekend long as well. Going down into Memphis, Tennessee, the high temperature on Monday is going to be 16 degrees. New York, the high temperature on Monday will be 40. 40 degrees in New York. South of there, we're going to see temperatures, high temperatures, to probably mid-30s on Monday. Mid-30s on Sunday. The rain is supposed to stop at midnight tonight here in North Carolina. We'll see what happens. We expect to get 2 inches of rain between noon today and midnight tonight, and it's still raining right now. This is what you're going to see this weekend. Saturday, low temperatures, Havre, Nevada, or Havre, Montana, minus 21. Denver, 17. Ely, Nevada, 38. Monday, Havre, Montana, 1 degrees. And you can see these other temperatures here. It's going to be a cold one, folks. It's going to be cold and dangerous. I want to make sure that everybody is aware of this. Low temps on Monday. Okay, Great Falls, Montana, -22. Denver, -9. Minneapolis, -7 degrees. Kansas City, -12. Dallas, 8 degrees. Memphis, 11 degrees. Chicago, -10. This cold air mass is going to stay in the United States primarily into midweek this next week. You can see the warmer temperatures just barely creasing the eastern side of North Carolina and South Carolina, stretching down into Georgia and Florida. 27 degrees over in Houston, Texas. 27 degrees below freezing in Houston, Texas on Monday. That is very, very cold. Cold weather in Utah. Cold weather in Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. Cold weather throughout the rest of the United States. It's going to be a bad one. Up in northeastern United States, they're going to have a nor'easter with heavy accumulation of snow, ice, and high winds. High winds up into the upper 40-mile-per-hour area. It's going to be very dangerous. There's going to be snow and blowing snow, blizzard conditions throughout most parts of the northern tier of the United States. This is nothing to be sneezed at, guys. We need to pay attention. Almost my entire presentation tonight is about emergency winter preparedness. Emergency winter preparedness. Now I want to go a little bit away from the weather just right now. I want to talk about what's happened seismic-wise down here in Southern California. The red push pins on the map here, I put here today. For the most part, most of these are here today. These are the earthquakes, the areas of high seismicity all this week and continuing through the weekend. As the weather forecasters in Southern California are calling for an earthquake watch, and I highly agree. We are calling for an earthquake watch in Southern California. Why? With all this energy here, it's literally all over Los Angeles and out east into the desert. You can see what I'm talking about here. Everywhere where we have a push pin, there's been seismic activity. Some of it 2.5 to 4.5 earthquakes throughout Southern California. Fontana, for example, a 2.7 earthquake today in Fontana. Over in Wrightwood, California, a 3.0 earthquake. Pardee, California, up to the northwest here, you see a push pin there. There is plenty of seismic activity in Pardee, California. Over in the Palos Verdes area and San Pedro, over by the coast of Los Angeles, we have a push pin there. They've had 2.5 activity there as well. All over Los Angeles, we have plenty of seismic activity. I'm telling you guys, there's going to be an earthquake coming. There will be an earthquake coming. This is a fact. Those people that want to take and play around with this and not understand it or even take a look at it, you guys are going to be the ones having problems. This is a serious situation. Let's look at North Los Angeles area here. Baldwin Hills. Baldwin Hills is where there's oil and gas pumping operations all over the hills over there. 2.2 earthquakes there today. 2.2 earthquakes. We've had minor earthquakes up in Santa Monica area as well. We've had Del Amo, Moore Park, Ellis, California, Rio Hondo, Rinaldi, California. All those areas are having 2.0, 2.5 earthquakes. While they're minor earthquakes, this could be the linchpin for bigger earthquakes. By the linchpin, I'm talking, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of larger earthquakes in the Los Angeles area. State Street, over by Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm in Los Angeles. A 2.5, 2.7 earthquakes there. Del Amo, California. Light Hype over by Long Beach, California. These are areas everybody should know. There's been earthquakes hitting here. We've shown it to you on the seismograms earlier this week. It's still hitting. It is still hitting. I want everybody to be aware of what's going on. This is nothing to scare anybody about, but all I'm asking everybody is to watch what's going on. This is very real. This is very, very real. Okay? I wouldn't ask you to do anything I would not be willing to do myself, and if I was in California, I would be very concerned about what's going on there. Okay, that's just a heads up. That's all it is a heads up here. Now, with that said, we've had earthquakes over in Alaska today. A 5.9 off the west coast of Alaska over here in the southeastern part of Alaska. Okay? That is southwest of Sitka, Alaska. A 5.9 earthquake. Now, while this was a 5.9, I believe it was stronger than that. Let me show you why. Look at this. This is the helioplot for that same earthquake in Alaska. Okay? This is seen from Cathedral Cove in Missouri. This 5.9 in Alaska is seen today from Cathedral Cove in Missouri. Folks, look closely at the horizontal lines just beneath this earthquake. Okay? Those horizontal lines show body waves, seismic waves that are continuing after the earthquake. I count 12 hours of seismic body waves. 12, I first counted a minimum of 10. Then I looked very closely, and there may have been as much as 12 hours of body wave. This earthquake was not a 5.9. I believe it was a 6.5 earthquake just off the coast of Sitka, Alaska today. Okay, let me show you another one here real quick. This is from College Outpost, Alaska. This is central Alaska. Look what we're showing you here. Okay? We're showing you the very same line, this horizontal line, where this earthquake came from. This is just prior to the quake. You might call them aftershocks. I mean, not aftershocks, foreshocks prior to the earthquake hitting. Then over on the far right, this is the earthquake. This is Alaska. So we're going to see very, very realistic seismic waves hitting here in Alaska. This is northern, I'm not saying northern, but north central Alaska. College Outpost. Okay? It's serious. It's very serious. Let's take a look over in Florida. This is that same earthquake as seen from Disney World in Florida. Look at that. Okay? You see the foreshocks before this earthquake happened. Then you see the secondary waves out to the right. The secondary wave lasted an hour and 50 minutes. The secondary wave lasted an hour and 50 minutes. Then the body wave took over. Again, we have at least 10 hours of body wave here where the ground is still shaking after that 5.9. That's again another reason why we're calling this a 6.5 earthquake. I'm going to show you one more. This is from, actually I'm going to show you two more. This one is from Hockley, Texas. Hockley, Texas. The primary wave that you see here that is going off the paper on the top and off the paper on the bottom. The foreshocks you can see here off to the left of this primary wave. Those are series foreshocks. Then aftershocks after that, the secondary wave of the earthquake. Again, there was an hour and 50 minutes of secondary wave. Then we have 10 hours of body wave. Again, this earthquake was a 6.5 magnitude quake. This heliplot comes from South Dakota. Again, we see the primary waves here. Then we see the secondary wave here. Then after that, the body wave. 10 hours of body wave here as well. Okay? That 5.9 off of Alaska today, folks, I believe it to be at least a 6.5 earthquake. Now, where did this come from? We saw a major earthquake hit over in the Sea of Japan a week and a half ago. Noto Peninsula. It came out originally as a 7.8 earthquake. They downgraded it to a 7.5. I proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that this earthquake was a lot stronger than that. A 9.0, 8.4 to a 9.0 earthquake. My honesty of my heart, I believe it was at least an 8.4 magnitude earthquake. And I showed you all the information about that within 24 hours after the quake hit. Now, with that said, that quake still is generating aftershocks today. Let's pull up the USGS map and take a look at that. Just a second. Okay, I'll be coming back down here to Indonesia in a minute. Let's go over here to Japan. Off the western side of Japan, over here in the Sea of Japan. This is the Noto Peninsula, N-O-T-O Peninsula. Over here, we have a 4.1 earthquake here. This is 3.9 kilometers deep. 4 kilometers deep, 2 miles deep. Okay? This is a 4.5, a little bit stronger. This earthquake is 10 kilometers deep. 5, just almost 6 miles deep. Over here at the northern part of the peninsula, this is also 4.5 earthquake. This is 9.5 kilometers deep, a 4.5 earthquake. There's over 170 people that have been found dead as a result of that 8.4 earthquake. Over 300 people have been found injured, and they are still trying to pull people from the rubble. Buildings, schools, homes were literally crumbled, smashed flat by that earthquake. Cars fell into fissures that opened up in the roadways. Buildings, trees, and power poles came down with that earthquake. There was a small tsunami over here in the Sea of Japan between Japan and Korea, and over just north of Korea in Russia. Okay? A big deal. The ground is still shaking over in Japan today. Okay? Almost 2 weeks later, the ground is still shaking. Folks, this ground is going to shake probably for months, if not years. This was a major earthquake in Japan. Over on the eastern side of Japan today, over in the Izu Islands, we have some earthquakes. This one's a 4.6 earthquake. This one is 27 kilometers deep. South of there, also in the Izu Islands, we have a 4.5. This one is a very deep earthquake. 400 kilometers deep. 400 kilometers deep. This is a 4.5 earthquake. A 4.5 earthquake. Let me show you this. This is the depth to magnitude conversion chart. That was a 4.5 earthquake. 400 kilometers deep. Let's look at this. Okay? Down towards the bottom left, we're looking at 395 kilometers deep. We must add 0.79. 400 kilometers deep, 0.80. 0.80. So with this earthquake here, we are going to add 0.80 to this earthquake. This is a 4.5. This 4.5 earthquake is going to propagate a 5.3 earthquake within the next 72 hours to 10 days. A 5.3 earthquake within the next 72 hours to 10 days, either here in Japan or east of Japan. Okay? That earthquake could go all the way over to Hawaii. It could go south into Taiwan. It could go south into Guam. It could go south into Indonesia or the Philippines. I believe in my heart that it will stay in Japan. So Japan will see at least another 5.3 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. Okay? Let's go down here into the South Pacific. We've had a large earthquake here. This earthquake is a large 5.4 earthquake. This is 180 kilometers southeast of Oahu, Tonga. This is 10 kilometers deep. Northwest of there, this is in Luvuka, Fiji. This earthquake is a 4.5 in Luvuka, Fiji. This is also a very deep earthquake. This earthquake is 614 kilometers deep. 614 kilometers deep. Going over the depth to magnitude conversion chart, we go over to 614 kilometers deep. Now we have to add a 1.25 to this earthquake. A 1.25 to this earthquake. This 4.5 earthquake is going to generate a 5.96.0 earthquake. This 4.5 earthquake is going to propagate a 5.4, I'm sorry, not 5.4, it's going to propagate a 5.9 magnitude earthquake. 5.96.0 magnitude earthquake. That 6.0 earthquake could stay in the Luvuka, Fiji area. It could go over into Tonga and Samoa. It could also go west into Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, or Papua New Guinea. Or it could travel the east part of the Pacific over into Chile and Argentina. A 6.0 earthquake will be here within the next 3 to 10 days. Okay? Now, over here in South America, over in southern Peru, this is a 5.3 earthquake, 78 kilometers deep. A 5.3 earthquake over here in southern Peru near Cuenca, Peru. Folks, that is not the only earthquake that hit here. That is the largest earthquake, but it's not the only earthquake that hit here. They want people to believe that nothing ever happens in South America. They're so freaking wrong, it's not funny. Folks, South America had its share of earthquakes today. A lot of earthquakes today. Okay? A lot of earthquakes. Let me show you the number of earthquakes that have been hit over in South America today. Look at this. The earthquake that you see over there in southern Peru, that is the 5.3 earthquake that we've been talking about. South of there in Chile, a 3.0, a 2.7, 2.6, 2.8, 3.2, 3.2 in the border region of Chile and Argentina near San Juan, Argentina. Over in Chile, 3.7 and a 2.7. A 3.7 and a 2.7 near Valparaiso, Chile, the capital of Chile. Further south, Los Lagos, Puye Hot Springs, Los Lagos, Chile, a 3.0. There's a 3.0 right there. Offshore from Isen, Chile, there's a 4.5 earthquake right here. A 4.5 earthquake right there. Now, 6, 8, 9, 10 earthquakes up to and including the earthquakes in Peru. No other earthquakes here in northern South America. However, look what's happened over here in Central America. Panama region, 3.0, 4.0, 4.0 over there in Panama area, 3.3, and a 3.8. Okay? Going further north into Nicaragua, a 3.1, a 3.0, and another 2.9. Okay? Then we go north, southern Mexico. There's a 4.0 in southern Mexico. Now, this is the European agency. They're not reporting any other earthquakes in southern Mexico, but either is the USGS. Neither is the USGS. Now, I will give it to the USGS that they did report one earthquake over here in the Galapagos Islands, just off the coast of Colombia today. This is a 5.0 large earthquake. A 5.0 large earthquake. Now, let's go north into the United States. Okay? Look what they reported today over here. South of San Francisco Bay, southeast of Monterey Bay. This is a 3.0 earthquake, Tres Pinos, California. Tres Pinos, California. 2 years ago we had a 5.0 here. They're not reporting any earthquakes anywhere else. Nothing here in Southern California whatsoever. I just show you all the data that I have gathered this week about earthquakes in Southern California. There are earthquakes here, they're choosing not to report them. There are earthquakes here in Northern California, they're choosing not to report them. There are earthquakes up here in the Pacific Northwest, they're choosing not to report them. It's bad. It's very, very bad. We're going to have some major earthquakes hitting here within the next, I want to say, 72 hours. Large, strong, and major earthquakes either in the San Francisco Bay Area or Southern California within the next 72 hours. Southern California, I'm putting on an earthquake watch. Southern California, I have put on an earthquake watch. Now, I want to go over to Iceland. While they show absolutely no earthquakes here in Iceland, that is a faux pas. This is a faux pas. Folks, I don't mean to be negative. Yesterday I told you about a gentleman that may have lost his life over in Iceland. He fell into a 25-meter deep fissure that opened up here approximately 3 weeks ago. They've called off the search. They've called off the search because of rockfall that fell into that fissure. They do not want to chance losing any more men trying to search for that one man. It's been over 72 hours now. They've called off the search. Okay? Now, while the U.S. and European agency does not show any earthquakes in Iceland, the area is still shaking. Let there be no doubt about what's going on over in Iceland. Let there be no doubt at all. There are earthquakes. Now I stand corrected. I now stand corrected. The European agency is now showing a 4.0 earthquake in Grindavik. A 4.0 earthquake today in Grindavik. Right on the outskirts of Grindavik. This is just south of where the fissure opened up, where we had molten lava pouring out of the fissure. Okay? A 4.0 earthquake here just north of Grindavik today. Alright? We believe, and after consulting with scientists about this, we do believe that there's going to be another volcanic eruption just outside Grindavik, probably within the next 72 hours. It's an imminent eruption forecast. We expect a volcanic eruption to occur at any point, possibly as early as within the next 72 hours here in southern Iceland. Right? I want to make sure that everybody is aware of it. Okay? Now, with that said, there's more. There's a lot more. Let's pull down here into the USGS map again. I'm going to go over here to the Middle East. Okay, I'm going to work my way over to the Middle East. Over here, just off the southwest coast of Crete, Greece. This is a 5.0 earthquake. 83 kilometers west-southwest of Podgorica, Greece. And I know I'm butchering that name. It's just southwest of Crete, Greece. Okay? Let's go east here. Okay, into Afghanistan. Okay? This is a 4.2 earthquake. 2 days ago we had a 5.4 here. This is a 4.2 moderate earthquake, 219 kilometers deep. Over here in the Nepal, India area, in the Himalaya Mountains, this is a 4.1, 28 kilometers deep. The Himalaya Mountains here is the edge of the plate, the craton edge here. Okay, we go further east here, Myanmar. This is a moderate 4.5 earthquake, 36 kilometers deep here. Again, they're not telling us much of anything going on here in Indonesia. What a joke. What a cotton picking joke. There's all kinds of earthquakes in Europe. All kinds of earthquakes all over Europe and all over Indonesia. Here we're showing an earthquake in northern Indonesia. This is a 4.6 earthquake. This is also 76 kilometers deep. Notice how it's in a straight line going north and south here. Northern Indonesia, a 4.6 here. Going north, Sarangani, Philippines, just south of Mindanao, Philippines. We had a 6.4 earthquake here just days ago. This is a 4.8 south of Sarangani, Philippines here. This is 11.5 kilometers deep. Going north, off the northeast coast of Mindanao, Philippines today. This is the same location where we had a major earthquake here just about a month ago. This is a 4.7 in that same location. A 4.7 moderate quake here. It's 37 kilometers deep. Okay? Now, I really don't care what the agency says. I just don't. I'm tired of caring. Over here, just off the coast of Mindanao, Philippines, we have a 3.3 here. Okay? Just south of there, there's a 3.1 here. There's a 3.1 there. Going just east of there, here's a 3.4. North of there, a moderate 4.7 earthquake here. A 4.7 earthquake there. Okay? USGS says there's one earthquake. There's four. Four aftershocks of a major earthquake here just 4 weeks ago. We're going to continue to have aftershocks here in this region for months, if not years, as a result of this major earthquake here just a month ago. Okay? Notice again these three earthquakes here lined up in synchronicity going north and south. Okay? We don't often see that. That's why I'm pointing it out. Okay? Again, over here in the Northern Mariana Islands. This is a large 5.0 earthquake here. This is 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Okay, we talked to you already about the Philippines. Okay, I'm going to go north, over here to Kamchatka Peninsula. Okay, a 4.3 earthquake happened here. This is 110 kilometers deep. I told all of you, after that earthquake down here, west of Japan, in western Japan, the seismic energy would go north up here to Kamchatka Peninsula. It did not happen like I thought it would. Energy has been leaking, literally leaking out of Japan. It's finally made its way up here to Kamchatka Peninsula, but this shows only a 4.3 earthquake here. I still fully expect 7.0, maybe a little bit less than that here in this region that's going to travel across the Aleutian Islands here into Alaska. Okay? But given this earthquake over here in southeastern Alaska today, some of the energy coming from Japan may have already made it over here to southeastern Alaska. If that's the case, we're going to see larger seismic energy coming down the Cascadia subduction zone all the way down into this area just southwest of Canada, and over here just west of Washington State. Okay? We can see 6.0, 6.5, or 5.5 energy coming down the Cascadia subduction zone all the way down here off the coast of western Vancouver Island and west of Seattle here in Washington State. Okay? I believe we may have made a change here. The seismic energy may have come out of Japan, and now today we had a 5.9, 6.0 earthquake, and I believe it's probably closer to 6.4, 6.5 earthquake, judging by the heliplots that I showed you. Okay? I want to make sure that we've given you this information because nobody else is. The people in the Pacific Northwest need to be on the alert for a possible large earthquake in this area. It's coming. It's a matter of time. This area off the coast of Vancouver Island and Seattle here has been locked up for a very long time. There's a very good possibility it may unlock and unzip here, where we're going to see a very dangerous earthquake in this area very, very imminently. So you people in the Pacific Northwest and southwestern Canada, you need to prepare for a larger earthquake here. Okay? Do I have any questions so far about anything we said here? Richard Smith has been clicking off earthquakes that have been happening, including the latest being a small 3.5 in the Kermadec Islands north of New Zealand. Any questions here? Laura Marie is here from Oregon. We appreciate her and her husband being here with us. We have many of our moderators here as well. Surgery and Demon Catman are here with us as moderators here tonight. It looks like Surgery and Demon Catman are the only moderators here. No, Kimberly Hopkins is here as well. Thank you, Kimberly, for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. Do any of you have any questions about anything we talked about so far? The Pacific Northwest needs to be watchful for a very large earthquake hitting in this area within the next probably 72 hours. Okay? Everybody needs to be concerned about this. Everybody, literally. Laura Marie says her internet is barely working, but she watches what she can. I appreciate that, Laura. Thank you so much. God bless you. Laura and I have been dear friends for a very, very long time. Very, very long time. We go back way, way back. Now, we talked a lot about cold weather. A lot about cold weather. Aubrey wrote us a note today. I believe she said they had 8-degree temperatures in Sioux City, South Dakota. That's very, very cold. Okay? We talked about cold temperatures all over central Canada, going up from the very northwestern part of Canada, coming down into the United States, and as far south as southern Texas tomorrow. Folks, we're in the middle of one of the most dangerous times of year. Cold-related emergencies. Clothes that are appropriate for going feet first from warm house to soon-to-be warm car, maybe 100 yards or less to your warm car. You can still suffer frostbite on your extremities and even your nose if you're not having some kind of face protection like a scarf over your face. Okay? Clothes are appropriate for going 20 feet from warm house into a soon-to-be warm car. Okay? And 100 yards from the car into a warm store. Okay? It is not appropriate for you to have an accident or your car breaking down and you to be without warm weather gear outside. Don't do it. You need to have your warm weather gear. You also need to have a vehicle emergency preparedness kit. We're going to talk about that now. For a crisp afternoon hike in light clothing can turn into a bone-chilling, dangerous situation as soon as the sun starts going down. It's even worse if you run out into the rain or slip and fall into a creek. I saw a short video earlier of a little baby fawn that slipped into a creek in Montana, and it almost lost consciousness in the cold water creek. It almost drowned. A trapper in that area saw the little fawn struggling in the cold, and then the fawn went limp. The trapper leapt into the cold water of that creek and rescued that little fawn, that baby deer, from the frigid cold water. The deer was shivering, hypothermic. The trapper took off his warm shirt and wrapped it around the cold fawn, the wet, cold fawn, trying to help the fawn capture body heat. The trapper and his dog made their way back to their vehicle, their truck, and turned on the warm air. The trapper took the fawn in his truck and took it home and dried it off and made sure it was clean and dry, then called Fish and Game. Fish and Game told him to take the fawn back out into that same area where he'd left earlier that day. The Fish and Game officer told him that that fawn could probably find its mother and its mother would take him back. We've been told stories that if you catch a wild animal and it has human scent on it, the mother won't take it back. In this case, the mother did. The Fish and Game person was correct. The mother deer took her fawn back in under her and was fine. Now, you don't want to dress for a blizzard necessarily. You don't want to dress for a worst case scenario all the time. But for normal clothes that people wear just won't do the job if the subtle supplemental heat in your body goes away. I grew up in Fargo, North Dakota, in blizzard country. I've spoken to you most of the time during the past 4.5 years during the winter seasons. I spoke to most of you about the cold winter weather we had in Fargo, all over Minnesota when we traveled around there. We have had blizzard survival kits in our parents' cars when we were in Fargo. We always had extra clothes in the vehicle. We had blankets, food, and candles. A lot of the gear is very similar now to what we had 30 plus years ago. But there are a few items that we have a few items that we've improved drastically. Mylar blankets is one of them. The NASA cold weather blanket. It looks like aluminum foil. However, that aluminum foil blanket is designed to wrap around us to preserve our body heat and to save our lives. The old style Mylar blankets tore easily, both when you used them and when you were unpackaging them. If they rode in a vehicle for too long, they would tear after you tried to open them. New Mylar blankets are plasticized to be more flexible. They can be made into a sleeping bag or a bivvy. They're small enough to fit in a cargo pocket or a coat pocket. Now, you can take a pocket survival bivvy, that same kind of emergency NASA blanket, and you can help make yourself a worst winter survival idea. Okay? That NASA Mylar blanket will keep you warm enough to keep you from getting ice cold and getting soaked with freezing water or freezing temperatures, in sub-freezing temperatures. That Mylar blanket can save your life. Now, you can get those pocket survival bivvy blankets at REI. You can get them at most outdoor stores, Army Navy stores. You can buy them at Walmart. You can buy them at Target and various other places like that. Okay? There's a few other things you need to remember when it comes to cold weather survival. First, you've got more time to think before you go unconscious. And you have less time than you think before you start having psychological damage from the cold. In water, you've got several minutes before you go unconscious in the water. Just like I explained about that little baby fawn that the trapper captured and made warm, and then brought it back into its natural habitat and turned it back over to its mother, where the trapper actually found the mother. Okay? Now, you might have several minutes before you go unconscious when you are exposed to cold weather. 10 or more minutes of staying calm, if you stay calm. But all of our hardwired reflexes when going into cold water is to hyperventilate. Our reflexes cause us to hyperventilate. This can be disastrous if your mouth is underwater. and it can accelerate the panic process. The key here is to keep calm. Get control of yourself. Getting control of yourself might take a minute, but then you need to take action to save your life. Depending on your body and your state of mind before going into the water. Your hands could work for a minute or more before blood is redirected to the core. Before your blood is redirected to the core and you lose a lot of your hand function. Once you're cold, it's a matter of adding heat to the body and retaining the heat you generate. That NASA survival blanket will help you to retain heat, and it reflects about 80% or more of your body heat back directly into your body. Removing wet clothing will also help with heat retention. You don't want to waste your heat of your body trying to heat and warm up your wet clothes. Don't do it. Get out of your wet clothes. To add heat, you can exercise. Drink warm, sweet liquids. Get some exercise. Walk around your house or move around in your car to keep blood circulating. Drink warm, sweet liquids to get a heated body again. Go into a heated house, a heated office space, a heated tent. Warm up with a fire. Chemical heat packs. Chemical heat packs. I've got many chemical heat packs in my 72-hour kit. I've got many heat packs, chemical heat packs in our emergency preparedness kits here in our house. I've got more heated heat packs in our survival totes here. Yes, I have them a little bit of everywhere because I want to make sure I have enough heated pads to keep my feet and to keep my hands and to keep the rest of my body and my wife's body warm. Okay? Make sure you have these chemical heat hand packs, body warmers in your emergency supply kits. You may also want to use a hot water bottle or use skin-to-skin contact with someone who is still warm. I've seen that done to perfection, where a man undresses his companion who is in the very cold water, who is almost hypothermic. Both of them get undressed down to their underwear and then snuggle under a blanket with the man who's hot, sharing his heat of his body with the other man wrapped in blankets. So his body heat is reflected to the man who's had and been hyperthermic. Okay? This is important information. Important information that I wanted to share with each of you today. Again, we're going to have very, very dangerous cold conditions hitting the United States and literally all over Europe this weekend and through this next week. It's critically important we stay warm. It's critically important we stay warm. Now, does anybody have any questions about anything I've talked about? Catherine Sigurdsson says hot bottled water in a sock and pockets. Absolutely right. You can heat up a bottle of water and put it in a sock or your pockets and it'll help keep you warm. That hot bottled water will be in your pockets and it will help your coat keep you warm and toasty. It can prevent you from getting frostbite. That's a great idea. Renee Steffi says kitty litter also melts ice. Used it on the railroad. Wow. Yes, kitty litter does help melt ice, That's one of the things that I tell people to put in the back of their car, along with some sawdust. A 50-pound or 100-pound bag of sawdust to use as traction on a roadway if your car gets stuck. Okay? Very important. Renee Stephanie says you have to use kitty litter. Okay? I've heard of that a lot. I've heard about that a lot. Any more ideas? Those are great. Those are really great. Now, I have one more slide to show you. This is for your vehicle. During the past 2 weeks, we've talked about a winter car kit. Pack a winter car kit. A snow brush to brush off your windows from ice and snow. Be sure, at least, to brush off your side windows as well so you can see out of them. A flashlight with batteries and more batteries backing that up. Make sure you have your flashlights with fresh batteries and also have spare batteries as well to carry with you. A flashlight with batteries. A blanket or sleeping bag. Very good idea. I would say a sleeping bag and a blanket. A sleeping bag and a blanket to keep yourself warm. A small shovel. A small shovel to help you spread your kitty litter or your sawdust around on the ground to help you provide traction for your car, or to help dig yourself out of a snowbank. Very important. Jumper cables and a tow chain. Jumper cables and a tow chain. Okay, jumper cables. I have a set of jumper cables in my car 24/7. Okay, and a tow chain to help pull somebody out that has run their car off the road. Make sure you do not run your car off the road when trying to assist them, though. Be very cognizant of everything going on around you. If necessary, you probably should have a four-wheel drive vehicle. A four-wheel drive vehicle to make sure you can stay on the road yourself and also help get somebody out back on the road. Okay? A first aid kit. Absolutely, first aid kit is number one. Make sure you have a first aid kit. You never want to be without a first aid kit, especially in the winter. Okay? In my first aid kit in my car right now, we have hand warmers also packed away in the first aid kit, making sure we can stay warm and keep whoever else is hurt warm as well, so frostbite or shock doesn't play into this. Okay? Matches and a candle. Matches and a candle in your car. If you're going to use matches and a candle, which my father has used, I've never done it in my car. Make sure you have your windows slightly cracked so you're letting fresh air into your car. This is very, very important because otherwise you could be overcome by smoke and carbon dioxide poisoning. Smoke and carbon dioxide poisoning. Carbon dioxide will soon take over any air in your car and make it very deadly to be in your car if your windows are not cracked, letting in fresh air. Okay? A cell phone. A cell phone. Many of us have cell phones. There are cell phones you can buy for emergencies. They're called throwaways. Okay? Make sure you have at least one cell phone in your car. Make sure you have charging capabilities for your cell phone and that little device that you can stick in the ear called a Bluetooth or a headset. Make sure you have charging devices in your vehicle to charge your cell phone and your Bluetooth. Making sure those two electrical devices do not go dead in the cold of the winter. Also, do not leave them in your car if you go inside a house or your office. Take your Bluetooth and your phone in the office, in the house, or anywhere that you're going to be. Do not leave those devices in the cold, because the cold will run down the batteries. The cold will run down the batteries so fast. Don't leave them out in the cold in the car. Now, if you have to go outside, if you must go outside, make sure every 20 to 30 minutes you go back inside for another 10 or 15. Make sure you restore your body heat. Make sure you restore your body heat before you go back outside into the cold to help yourself or help someone else outside. Be cognizant of everybody around you. Make sure those people that are also working with you are, number one, healthy, and number two, that they don't succumb to the cold as many people do this time of year. Okay? Catherine Sigurdsson is talking about opening up your taps in your home before you go to bed. Make sure you have your sink in your kitchen and in your bathrooms opened up to dribbling water out of the faucets to make sure your pipes do not freeze. That's an excellent thing to do, and I talked about that last night. Renee Stephanie says crayons can be lit and used at least for a second or two for light if you need to. Absolutely, they can. They burn rather quickly, so make sure you're not holding those crayons between your fingers after they're lit, because the wax of the crayon can melt so fast you could burn your hand. So be very careful about that. Okay? Linda Covington says buy a disposable battery pack for your cell phones. They don't sell many disposable battery packs for cell phones here, at least not here in the United States. Most cell phones here have throwaway batteries. Once the battery dies on your cell phone, it's no good to anybody, including you. You have to replace your cell phone, which is bad. But the cell phone companies do it to sell you new cell phones. Very expensive cell phones at that. Any other questions or ideas? These are great. I appreciate all of you giving out these ideas. They're wonderful ideas. Renee Stephanie says handheld lanterns and glow sticks to help rescuers find your car. Great idea. Very, very good idea. Especially if you're stranded on the side of the road. You can duct tape the top and the bottom of your glow stick to your radio antenna outside. That way, people going down the road will see you there and will say, wow, that person has a possible problem. They've got a light on their radio antenna. Maybe you will get help by those people going by. Okay? Spinderella says, once upon a time we lived with good cell phones. Yeah, once upon a time. That's exactly right. Catherine Sigurdsson is also here talking about making sure your car exhaust pipe is not covered with snow. If you stall out on the side of the road and you continue to run your car for heat, your exhaust pipe could be backing up deadly carbon monoxide in your car. Make sure the snow on the outside bottom back of the car remains cleared away from your car. Don't let your exhaust pipe be covered with snow. That's a very bad thing to have happen. Okay? That's a very bad thing to have happen. Any other suggestions or ideas? These are great. Danny Huddleston's here saying a candle in a can of Crisco will also burn for days. You're absolutely right. A candle in a can of Crisco will burn for days. But again, if you're in a car, make sure that your windows are cracked to let in cool air, cool fresh air, so you don't pass away from carbon dioxide poisoning. Be very careful. Aubrey is saying Patriot sell a cell phone size solar battery charger to charge cell phones and other devices. She's absolutely right. Let's see if I got mine here. I think mine is in my bedroom right now. And I think I put my 4 Patriots battery pack in my bedroom. The battery pack I can hang on the outside of my jacket. I can hang it on the outside of my 72-hour kit on my back. I can hang it almost anywhere outside to keep it charged with the sun. When I've had it here in the house and I've run it down even a little bit, I plug it into house power to fully charge it up. That way that 4 Patriots battery pack is always charged for my safety. Great idea. Great idea. Okay? Keep it charged, and that battery, that solar battery that 4 Patriots sells, can then connect to your cell phone, and you can keep it charged at least 3 times. You can charge your cell phone for 3 times. You can charge 2 cell phones at least once or twice. Okay? Surgery says he's out of here. He was up until 3 a.m. this morning working. God bless you, Surgery, and thank you for being here. Surgery is a very, very dear friend of mine. I appreciate him a lot. Thank you for being here, Surgery. You're awesome. I've known Surgery for a lot of years. Catherine Sigurdsson says her cell phone battery pack is plugged in beside her bed and she uses it. That's great. Always make sure that once your solar powered 4 Patriots battery pack has been used, that you recharge it though. Richard Smith says Garmin InReach satellite communication devices. Exactly right. If you have a Garmin sat phone, make sure you keep it charged so you can use it for communications in a disaster or an emergency. Okay? Catherine Sigurdsson says my whole battery charged. Absolutely right. Okay? Absolutely right. These are great ideas. I appreciate you guys talking about this. This is great. Surgery, go to sleep. Much love, my friend. Go to sleep. Go to sleep, brother. Any other questions or suggestions? These are great. You guys are awesome. You're really awesome. I appreciate you all. I kind of made a joke with several of you on our Facebook Messenger groups earlier today. I say y'all a lot. If I say y'all here and I get saying it too much, tell me. I now have become a Southerner. I say y'all a lot. Sweet Polly Purebred says, thank you, Ron. I just plugged in my Cobra CB. That's a good idea. Make sure your radios are always plugged in and charged. I've got a 40-channel Cobra Citizens Band radio in my car. It's there 24/7. I've got a CB handheld walkie-talkie here in the house in case I get within about a mile or so away. My wife can talk to me on CB radio. We also have these 2-way radios here, these family radio service radios. They're good for up to like 2 or 3 miles. They're wonderful. Okay. I also have my wonderful portable ham radio here with me. I took it out with me earlier and now it's back on the charger here. I keep that charged 24/7. Ham radio is a very good thing to have here in this kind of weather. Okay, they're great if you have a ham radio license. Richard Smith says, my Baofeng UVFR is charged. Mine's sitting right here. Richard, mine's right here. Okay, it's great.
Maybe we be free on the weekend. Well, let's get some more check-ins for the GridsNet call.
Oh, they're going through what they call radio net. The local radio hammer operators here are going through a net tonight. I didn't even realize that. Maybe.
Any more check-ins or rechecks? Well, gentlemen and ladies, we will shut it down. Be here Monday night, as far as I know, for 10-meter net, right back here next Friday, hopefully. Sort of touch and go right now, but we'll try it. I want to thank the Western Piedmont Amateur Radio Club for letting us use their machinery. And everybody keep eating them grits, even if it's got tomato and avocado and cheese on it. Boy, that sounds good. This is KU4JA.
N6CYR, clear. Anyway, guys, that's what a radio net does. The ham radio operators in the area on a frequent basis get together and go on the radio and check in with each other during these ham radio nets. That way, everybody that's out there with the ham radio can check in and make sure the radios are operational, and in an emergency they can go on the air with the radios and help people that are stranded out in the snow or whatever it is. These are great. Renee Steppe says also keep your AM FM weather radios tuned into a NOAA weather station. My weather station is 162.420. 162.420 is my NOAA weather radio frequency. Okay? Renee Steppe says also use flashers when driving in heavy downpours of snow. This helps other drivers see you. She's right. That's a good idea. Richard Smith says, I got a weather band saved. That's great. That's awesome, Richard. We appreciate it. Richard Smith says, CQ. This is a license copy. This is a no license copy, yeah. 10-4. 162.550 is over there in Nova Scotia. That's great. 162.550. 162.550. That's the NOAA weather radio band frequency. Are there any more suggestions or questions here? I know I've talked a lot about a lot of things here tonight, but I want to make sure that we've got things covered. If you have not seen this entire video, please go back to the beginning and re-watch it. We've given you a lot of very important information tonight regarding these storms and what's going on. Even though the storm might end for you tonight, it will continue on with some very, very frigid temperatures going forward into next week. Also, please note that we will not be back on the air tomorrow unless there is an emergency. If there becomes an emergency anywhere in the world, we will come back on the air tomorrow to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. And that goes for tonight as well. After we sign off here, we'll be back on the air if an emergency happens as soon as we get the information to pass it on to everybody else. We will be back on the air Sunday at noon for Come Follow Me, the Savior Said, with a very beautiful spiritual Sunday school class this Sunday. So please join us here on the Emergency Management Associates Network for Come Follow Me on Sunday at 12 noon Eastern Time for a weekly Sunday school class. We appreciate each and every one of you being here with us. Renee Steppe says, check your local news forecast and know what weather conditions to expect in your area. Absolutely. Check in with your local news forecast station, either your AM, FM radios or your TVs. Check in and make sure what's going on in your local area. They will tell you about that. Okay? We appreciate that, Renee. Thank you so much. Now, folks, I have something important to talk to you about. Okay? At the end of every show, we like to give you a special devotional. The devotional I want to share with you is in the Old Testament, in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Remember this. There is a time for everything in season. The Lord will give us information for whatever season we're in. There is a time for everything in the world in its season. Read chapter 3 in Ecclesiastes, verses 1 through 12. It's a beautiful piece of scripture. It's one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorite scriptures. I love that scripture more than almost anything in the world. It's been one of my favorite scriptures for as long as I can remember. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I appreciate each and every one of you being here with us. You guys mean the world to me. I try to give you here information that you can use for you and your families. I try to share information that I have found in my own life that would help me, that has helped me in the past. I always do that because what helps me could help you. Now, there's another piece of scripture that I want to share with you. Okay? This is a prophet that wrote in the scriptures. He says, okay, this is important. He made a record for his people, mostly for us to read in our own day. I will go and do the things which the Lord hath commanded me. For the Lord giveth no commandment unto the children of men, save he prepare a way that they might remember him and be able to turn to him and return to their Father in heaven. The Lord gives us no commandments unto the children of men, save he prepare a way that they might be able to live that commandment and return to their Heavenly Father. That's what the Lord wants us to do. Obey the commandments. If we obey the commandments of God, we're more likely to also be obedient to the laws of our land. Okay? Always remember that. Folks, it's been a long evening and a long day. I hope you have a great day and a better tomorrow. Like I said, if there's anything else that happens tonight, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information presents itself. I appreciate you all being here. God bless you. God protect you. God be with you until we meet again. I love each and every one of you. You're everything to me. You really are. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Much love.